Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
As long as the Matrix exists, the human race will never be free.
Start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?
Terrorists! Terrorize this.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
Listen up.
I want you to walk with me. I got lawyers up here, lawyers down there, politicians up here, politicians down there. Let's walk through this criminal enterprise. Walk through it. Walk through it. I gotta say, you're dealing with a criminal government here. These are criminals in power. Because I really don't care no more about what anybody thinks. If you don't have the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said, then sit down and stop trying to say you speak for our people and the hurt of the poor. Now close. Excuse me. Now, I may sound radical to you. I may sound like I've gone off a little. But I want to prove what I just said. See, he's a criminal. Maybe not in your eyes, but you can't see. Right now you see your government as a tree, immovable. Strong and powerful like a tree. You don't see as you should see the Americans in the window of the Democratic store. They're dressed beautifully. They want you to try on democracy. This country don't give a damn about democracy. They're tricking you. This thing called democracy is a trick. Even right now, register to vote. Who the hell you gonna vote for? Go ahead. Who you voting for? Well, thank God. We can get rid of Bush. You mean you got hope in this corrupt political system? To You really think that this corrupt political system is going to really serve our needs? What the hell is wrong with you? That you're going to sacrifice your children and your grandchildren on the false hope? You've been took. Like Brother Malcolm said, you've been had. You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. And you're ready to be bamboozled one more time. Not now. Come on. Clearly, something is wrong. Wrong with the government in which we live. Wrong with the leaders that lead us. Wrong with us in the way we respond to our enemy and each other. This nation is not about poor people, whether they're black, brown, red, yellow, or white. This nation is about rich people, privileged people, powerful people, and to hell with the weak, the poor. They must serve. Now, we are a universal people. But those at the top, they're on their way to hell. And if I got any power, I want to push them into hell
as fast as we can. Well, guess what? I have the testicular fortitude. Greetings, free thinkers, evolutionaries, info soldiers, and truth spreaders. It is Monday, October 10th, 2011. Thank you, Marshall. And you have found yourselves attaining a higher level of conscious on the front lines in this war on our humanity. I'm your host, Darren Stone, broadcasting to you live from FEMA Region 1. This is the part where I would introduce my guest, but my guest happens to be MIA. So, what to do? Don't know. So we're just going to do it. I was supposed to have Mr. Gerald President on the show today. I know probably most of you don't know who he is. I didn't know who he was until a few days ago. But I'm sure that Gerald just forgot. It is a holiday. Maybe he got caught up in his holiday plans with his family or whatever. But I'm sure I'll get him on here eventually. Unless, of course, he listened to the last program and heard my tirade, and maybe that kind of put him off a little bit. I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt that would have done it. But you know, you never know. So I am ill-prepared for tonight's show, so we'll just do it, see what happens. I do have some things that I'd like to talk about, and some things I'd like to plug right off the bat. Besides my normal stuff, I want to plug on Facebook, Orion Talk Radio Network's Facebook page. That is the page that Jules, my web mistress, I don't know if I can call you that, Jules. I don't know. But she takes care of the Orion Talk Radio Network Facebook page also, and she posts a lot of good information all day, a lot more than I post. So check that out. Go over and like it on Facebook. Also, governmentrag.com, check that out. And federaljack.com, which is where I discovered Mr. Gerald President being interviewed by Popeye from Federal Jack down at Occupy Miami. I was so impressed with Mr. President's no-nonsense, common-sense approach and perspective on things that I wanted to get him on, and just as somebody, a regular guy, well-informed, well self-taught, and able to explain it in a simple way to the rest of us. So I had hoped to have him on. That's the reason I had him on. But we spoke briefly on Friday, and briefly on Thursday, planned on tonight, and he's not around. So I will figure that out. So I don't really know what the hell I'm doing, but we'll just do something. The first thing, I had the other thing I want to say is Now, I've talked about this before. You guys know I pay to do this show. I pay for a website every month. I pay for Blog Talk Radio every month. I pay for the domain name every month. Pay for some stuff every month to do this. All I ask in return, I'm not asking for any money. I don't want that. I just want, if you guys like the show, I have 181 people on the Front's Facebook page. I have, every time I post a show link, the link to this show, to the live show, I'm lucky if I get 3 or 4 shares there. Now, come on, people, 181 of you on the page, just share the show link. That's all I'm asking. Just share it on your Facebook page. Imagine if every show I had, 10% of that. 18 people shared it. That would be awesome. Just takes a couple clicks with your index finger. How hard is that? That's all we're asking for over here. All right. So my whole show is basically questions for Mr. President. So I'll throw that by the wayside. But I had an epiphany, and I have to say, I love Hermain Cain. I'll let the murmur go across the crowd. What? He likes Hermain Cain? No. Just check the idea of Hermain Cain out for a second. I was thinking about this. One, he's a black guy. Not hard to figure that part out. 2, now he's a Republican. Now, all the Republicans are supposed to be racist these days. How is this all jiving together? So I look at Hermain Cain. Hermain Cain is your get out of racism free card. Okay? Because all you have to say to anybody that points the finger at you because you disagree with the current administration and calls you a racist, you just say, but man, I like Hermain Cain. So I guess I'm not a racist. I just don't like what's going on right now. So let's use this globalist scumbag that is Hermain Cain, ex-Kansas City Federal Reserve lackey. That's what he is. And we'll use him for our get out of racism free card. So now the whole racism thing coming from the left, accusing the right of being, and I'm neither. If you're just listening to this program, I am neither left nor right. I hate both. They're both ridiculous, and to get blinded by party lines is your own mistake at this point. It's time to grow up and evolve past that. But we can use Hermain Cain to discredit the entire racism thing because we all know that's a crock of shit anyway, right? Really. I've been thrown off of, I got thrown off of a blog for being accused of being a racist because in a post I mentioned Magilla Gorilla. No, I'm sorry. I mentioned Grape Ape in a post, and someone somehow, the owners of the blog, equated that to me talking about Obama. And I said, well, you're the racist. I wasn't mentioning anything with a monkey and the president, but you did. And the funny thing was the guy who accused me of being a racist and threw me off his blog was a Jewish guy, a gay Jewish guy that has swastika tattoos all over his arms. So, anyway, I just wanted to let you know the hypocrisy in that whole thing. But so I was just thinking that anybody fires the racism comment at you, just say, "Hey, I'm a Hermain Cain supporter." So I don't like what's going on now. You don't really have to be one. I wouldn't be a Hermain Cain supporter. Trust me. The guy's pretty gross, really. But we can use him. We can use him for what we want. All right. What else do I have? Look, we have Anonymous making a. I mean, really, I can't believe. Where's the mainstream? I don't watch mainstream media news anymore, people. But they should be. How are they backtracking now with the whole racism part? Now that there's a black Republican candidate, how's Chris Matthews going to spin this one? Is he going to? He should have Hermain Cain on the show and call him a racist. Anyway, we have Anonymous threatening to shut down the New York Stock Exchange today. Didn't happen. As a matter of fact, the stock exchange had a huge day. 300 plus points in the green today. Surged. I mean, based on all the great economic news, it surged ahead. Reading an article about it, it said, I just had to see what the official excuse for the 300 point plus surge was. They said that it's based on the fact that the European banks are going to get shored up with some injection of capital. In layman's terms, that means that you're all going to get a lot poorer, more devaluation of currency, more debt for everybody. That's what it means. But Wall Street loves that, so it surges on. Feel free to give the show a call tonight, 917-889-3064. Talk about anything you want to. Not sure if Jeff will call in tonight. Probably not. But I was also sent this article by a devoted listener about Saddam Hussein's a Saddam double. Now, at first, when you look at this article, it seems kind of wacky, kind of crazy. But it reminded me instantly of a story that I covered way back when the show first started, of how the CIA wanted to implement a double of Saddam Hussein and release images of him in different sex acts to denounce the leader and have the people revolt against him or sway public opinion away from Saddam during the invasion of Iraq. And that itself sounded kind of crazy, but here this story surfaces on the 8th of October. Saddam double escapes Alexandria porn kidnap gang again. That's the title of the article. And it goes on to say that Egyptian Saddam Hussein lookalike claims foreign gang attacked him after he refused a lucrative offer to star in sex videos they could sell as, quote, found footage. Yeah. So you see, now, if we look at the invasion of Iraq for a second, we were told that, hey, we have to go in there because Saddam Hussein is... he's killing his people. He has pits with where he gasses people to death, and he's this big mean guy. Never mind the fact that he was our ally for years and years and years. Pretty much kept control over the oil fields over there for us. But if he was such a bad guy, then no need to really make things up like showing him in sexual acts to sway public opinion. If he's going to be such a bad guy and he's killing his own people, then public opinion would be probably pretty low in the first place. There'd be no need to use a double to plant misinformation, right? Now, you look at this and you have to understand that, well, it's obvious that misinformation must be planted in our news too, right? Not that we don't cover that at length in this show. But the story goes on to say, an Egyptian man was severely beaten after an Iraqi gang tried to kidnap and force him to fill pornographic videos because of his astonishing resemblance of former Iraqi strongman Saddam Hussein. Mohammed Bishar says he was on his way to Sunday to a cafe in the bustling downtown area of Egypt's second city of Alexandria when three men wearing black suits tried to force him into the back of a van. The three men who had guns hanging from their belts forced me out of my car and shoved me into a van, hitting my head, Bashir, a devout Muslim, told Aram's Arabic portal from his hospital bed. The incident was short but traumatic. Bashir said the last thing he remembers was the men yelling at each other and then throwing him out of the van where he hit his face on the pavement. Passers-by quickly gathered around but were afraid to apprehend the apparently armed kidnappers. Bashar's son Mahmoud said that his father had previously met with a group of unidentified people who spoke in Arabic in an Iraqi or Syrian dialect and had been offered £2 million, the equivalent of $333,000 to impersonate the late dictator in a pornographic video. Bashir refused because, like devout Muslims do, they wouldn't, take part in pornographic videos or any type of pornographic behavior or sexual behavior because they're waiting for that, right? Unlike, of course, the hijackers of 9/11 who were having three-ways with pink-haired strippers, drinking and doing drugs. But they hate you for your freedom and, flew planes into towers to just tell you how much they hate your freedom. His son said that after the meeting, his father had received several telephone calls threatening him with kidnap if he didn't change his mind and shoot the Saddam sex tape. It is believed his kidnappers would have tried to pass off the video recording they made as genuine and sell it to the international media. This was not the first time Bashir has been harassed because of his looks, according to his sons. They said other Iraqis in Egypt have previously assaulted their father, telling him, "You are Saddam Hussein, and we will turn you in for the $1 million reward." Bashar has changed his residence 4 times to avoid such harassment, they claimed. Quote, "We asked the police to put special protection on our father because this has happened to us several times," said Mahmoud. Former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, executed in Baghdad in 2006, or was he, was rumored to have used the services of several doubles to make public appearances in his place. None are thought to have performed in adult films. So, there you go. So it's kind of weird, right? The story about the CIA. Now, what they wanted to do was they wanted to infiltrate mainstream media news in Iraq, and on the little ticker tape, when you're watching CNN or Fox, there's a little ticker down below with headlines and news stories going by. They wanted to put the Saddam, sex tape video being found, the headline of it, in the little ticker tape thing there in Iraqi news. That was a story I covered, I don't know, probably, I don't even know how long ago it was. It was a while ago. This is show 155, so it was somewhere back there. But, let's see. Let's see. What else? Okay, so you can tell I'm a little unprepared for the program. I know. Hey, all you have to do is call in, get a conversation started. 917-889-3064. Now, as George Orwell's 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World come into view and become our reality, I have this other article that I posted up on the Front's Facebook page, FBI to launch nationwide facial recognition service. You guys think this is going to stop let's see, your door being kicked in for something you printed on the internet or wrote on the internet or liked on Facebook or linked to? You think that day is not going to come? I mean, if all this is happening already, do you think that day isn't going to come? And are we going to stand up before that day comes? I don't know. I hope so. But FBI to launch nationwide facial recognition service. The FBI, by mid-January, will activate a nationwide facial recognition service in select states that will allow local police to identify unknown subjects in photos, Bureau officials told NextGov. The federal government is embarking on a multi-year $1 billion overhaul of the FBI's existing fingerprint database to more quickly and accurately identify suspects, partly through applying their biometric markers such as an iris scans and voice readings. Now, of course, we've already talked on this show about the local level, the public schools at the local level. A friend of mine who works for the public school district in this area informed me that they were conducting iris scans on all the elementary kids and high school kids at the local high school. All for our safety, of course. All for our safety. That information will never be abused, people. Don't worry. They will never use that information for anything but the good of humanity. Don't you fret. So often law enforcement authorities will, quote, have a photo of a person, and for whatever reason, they just don't know who it is. This is clearly the missing link to our case, said Nick Magna, a unit chief at the FBI's Criminal Justice Information Services Division. The new facial recognition service can help provide that missing link by retrieving a list of mugshots ranked in order or of similarity to the features of the subject in the photo. Mugshots or Facebook or anything, I'm sure all of those programs are linked together at the end of whatever user program the FBI is going to use for this facial recognition technology. Let's see. Today, an agent would have to already know the name of an individual to pull up the suspect's mugshot from among 10 million shots stored in the Bureau's existing integrated automated fingerprint identification system. Using the new next-generation identification system that is under development, law enforcement analysis will be able to upload a photo of an unknown person, choose a desired number of results from 2 to 50 mugshots, and within 15 minutes receive identified mugs to inspect for potential matches. Users typically will request 20 candidates, Magna said. The service does not provide a direct match. Oh. How can it not provide a direct match? Michigan, Washington, Florida, and North Carolina will participate in a test. It's only a test, everybody. Just a beta test, nothing to get nervous about. In a test of the new search tool this winter before it is offered to criminal justice professionals across the country in 2014 as part of the NGI. The NGI. What is NGI? Did I miss it in the article? NGI? Next Generation Identification System. All right, there it is. The project, which was awarded to Lockheed Martin Corporation in 2008, already has upgraded the FBI's fingerprint matching service. Oh, of course they have. Well, look, this is how this goes. All the facial recognition technology is already implemented in things like police blimps, police drones, police car cameras, street cameras. Any type of updated surveillance system will already have this technology integrated into it. I'm sure that we're just hearing about it. I'm sure it's already been in use. And if it doesn't, we only have to wait till January. So don't have that long to wait till we're much, much safer, just not yet safe. Local authorities have the choice to file mugshots with the FBI as part of the booking process. The Bureau expects its collection of shots to rival its repository of 70 million fingerprints once more officers are aware of the facial search's capabilities. Thomas E. Bush III, who helped develop NGI system requirements when he served as an assistant director of the CGIS division between 2005 and 2009. Why do they bog us down with crap we don't even... who cares with this guy? The idea was to be able to plug and play with these identifiers and biometrics. Law enforcement personnel saw value in facial recognition, and the technology was maturing, said the 33-year FBI veteran who now serves as a private consultant. NGI's incremental construction seems to align with the White House's push to deploy new information technology in phases so features can be scrapped if they don't meet expectations to run over budget. No, nothing runs over budget. There is no budget, that's why. Because they can keep screwing us for the money. They just get deeper in debt. There is no budget. But immigrants' rights groups have raised concerns that the Homeland Security Department, which exchanges digital prints with the FBI, will abuse the new facial recognition component. Oh, that never happens. Currently, a controversial DHS immigrant fingerprinting program called Secure Communities runs FBI prints from booked offenders against the department's ident biometric database to check whether they are in the country illegally. Homeland Security officials say they extradite only the most dangerous aliens, including convicted murderers and rapists. But critics say the FBI, DHS, well, they extradite them, and then they hand them automatic weapons as they get over the border. i.e. Fast and Furious. But critics say the FBI, DHS print swapping ensnares as many foreigners as possible, including those whose charges are minor or are ultimately dismissed. Magna said Homeland Security is not part of the facial recognition pilot, but Bush said in the future, NGI's data, including the photos, will be accessible by Homeland Security's ident. And by in the future, he means tomorrow. The planned addition of facial searches worries Sunita Patel, a staff attorney with the Center for Constitutional Rights. Oh, I'm sure they have a lot of worries at the Center for Constitutional Rights these days, who said, quote, any database of personal identity information is bound to have mistakes. And with the most personal, immutable traits like our facial features and fingerprints, the public can't afford a mistake. In addition, Patel said that she is concerned about the involvement of local police in information sharing for federal immigration enforcement purposes. Quote, the federal government is using local cops to create a massive surveillance system. Well, of course, this is the federalization, and this is me commenting on this article, this is the federalization of all local police forces. Look, it's not hard to federalize a local police force, okay? All you do is you go in and you say, hey, guys, we want to hook you up with all the greatest toys, all new guns, new facial recognition software programs. We'll link you into the Facebook facial recognition database. We will buy you some groovy new Dodge Chargers so you look real cool when you're driving around. We'll get you some urban assault vehicles. You know, we'll get you all the latest groovy gadgets. You just have to do everything we say now. But don't worry, there's incentives for those of you that are good little soldiers. Come on. You're a cop in a no-name town. You're 20-something years old. You have no clue about what the real deal is. Uncle Sam comes knocking, puffs your chest up with some, terrorist propaganda and how you can be a big old hero, and whammo bammo, you are now part of a federalized local police force, and you walk around with your chest puffed up just a little bit bigger than it was before. Sure, it's not that hard. So yes, local police forces are being used to create a massive surveillance system. Bush said, quote, we do have the capability to search against each other's systems, but added, if you don't come to the attention of law enforcement, you don't have anything to fear from these systems. Oh, I beg to differ. You see, because I would be considered a terrorist threat if I had a Ron Paul bumper sticker on my truck. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, I may be a terrorist suspect if I wear some Levi jeans. Me and my friends could be considered terrorist suspects if we are congregating together and having discussions. Also, if I'm bald, which I'm not, but if I was. So all you bald guys out there, just know, Department of Homeland Security considers you a possible terrorist threat because you're bald. Don't ask me why they think that. That's just what they think. Possible terrorist threat if you think 9/11 was an inside job. You don't have the right to say whatever you want to in this country because something you say can get you on a terror watch list. So when you hear this rhetoric where they say, if you don't come to the attention of law enforcement, you don't have anything to fear from these systems. Well, now that the system and law enforcement have implemented things such as behavioral police in airports. If I am a little stressed out about getting on a metal tube and hurling myself through the air at 700 miles an hour, 35,000 feet above the ground, that stresses me out slightly, plus getting my crotch grabbed and getting radiated as I board the metal tube. If that happens to stress me out a little bit, I may appear fidgety. I may appear uncomfortable. I may appear on edge. And according to a behavioral police officer who gets all of about 20 hours worth of training in human behavior, I could be considered a suspect and I could draw the attention of law enforcement. So when you hear people tell you that, well, who cares if they're watching us because I'm not doing anything wrong, always remember, it's not up to you to decide if what you're doing is wrong. the people who are watching you will decide that for you. Continue with this article. Other civil liberties, or we could call them civil liberties because they, well, never mind. Other civil liberties advocates question whether the facial recognition application would retrieve mugshots of those who have simply been arrested. Quote, it might be appropriate to have non-convicted people out of that system, said Jim Harper, Director of Information Policy at the Libertarian Cato Institute. FBI officials declined to comment on the recommendation. Well, now, why would FBI officials decline to comment on the recommendation? Why wouldn't they just go, hey, man, that's a good idea because those people didn't do anything wrong? Well, because it's not about doing something wrong, and it's not about catching criminals now. It's about running police videotape through facial recognition programs and pick out the troublemakers, such as myself, who ended up on police video cameras when I was at Occupy Wall Street. Okay. That's it. That's how it works. Harper also noted large-scale searches may generate a lot of false positives or incorrect matches. Facial recognition, quote, is more accurate with a Google or a Facebook because they will have anywhere from half a dozen to a dozen pictures of an individual, whereas I imagine the FBI has one or two mugshots, he said. Well, don't worry, Mr. Harper. Like I said, it's all integrated. FBI officials would not disclose the name of the search product or the vendor, but they say they gained insights. Now, why won't they disclose that? You see, it's very simple, everybody. When you lie, you hide what you're lying about. If you're upfront and truthful, you have nothing to hide. And that's why our government is anything but truthful, because they hide everything. In responding to concerns about the creation of a Big Brother database for tracking innocent Americans, Magna said that the system will not alter the FBI's authorities the way it conducts business. Quote, this doesn't change or create any new exchanges of data, he said. It only provides law enforcement with a new service to determine what photos are of interest to them. In 2008, the FBI released a privacy impact assessment summarizing its appraisal of controls in place to ensure compliance with federal privacy regulations. Magna said that during meetings with the CJIS Advisory Policy Board and the National Crime Prevention and Privacy Compact Council, we have gotten a whole lot of pushback on the photo capability. Yes, because people don't trust you. The FBI has an elaborate system of checks and balances to guard fingerprints, palm prints, mugshots, and all manner of all criminal history data, he said. Quote, this is not something where we want to collect a bunch of surveillance film and enter it into the system, Magna said. That would be useless to us. It would be useless to our users. Okay, so then, Mr. Magna, what are the police doing with hours and hours of faces on surveillance video? Why is that police officer, why do we see police officers at all of these rallies videotaping the crowd? Anyway. All right. Now, here's where I run into the conundrum, because those are the only articles I had up on my desktop. So, we are going to improvise here. And we're just going to take a look. We're going to have fun, okay? We're going to have a little bit of fun. And we're going to take a look at some headlines, okay? So I'm going to pull up Drudge Report, which I have no affinity for Drudge Report. It's just a place I go sometimes. I use this, I use FedJack, and I use Government Rag and Blacklisted News most of the time. But Drudge Report, here we go. Here's the headline on Drudge Report. And if you remember, last week I talked about how Al-Qaeda was pointing the finger at Mahmoud Ahmadinejad for saying that 9/11 was an inside job. And, Al-Qaeda's pissed, all right? Look, man, they worked hard, okay? They worked hard to pull off 9/11. It's not easy. 14 guys with box cutters being orchestrated from a guy in a cave with a satellite phone. Brought down the most powerful country in the world, changed our lives forever. Okay, that wasn't easy. And listen, man, they want the credit, okay? So they're getting a little pissed off that Ahmadinejad keeps flapping his gums saying 9/11's an inside job. So now, as an American citizen, you have to actually back Al-Qaeda. You have to agree with Al-Qaeda, the same organization that they're telling you attacked you on 9/11 and wants to kill you because you're so free, even though you rent your property, can have it seized from you if you don't keep up on your rental payments, even though you give away almost 70% of all total earned income over your lifetime, even though you can't say anything you want, even though you have to apply for a permit to make your voice heard, all of these things that you're not free for, now you have to agree with them and denounce Ahmadinejad for saying 9/11 is an inside job. But now the headline on Drudge is this: Al-Qaeda questions legality of killing U.S. citizen. Now, isn't that strange? You would think Al-Qaeda, who hates U.S. citizens supposedly because we're so fucking free, why would they even bother questioning the legality of anything? Why wouldn't they just be happy that a U.S. citizen was killed? Because, on 9/11, they supposedly killed 3,000 of us American citizens. And I'm assuming, based on this questioning, that the legality of the killing of Anwar al-Awlaki for the fourth time, that Al-Qaeda decided that the killing of 3,000 people on 9/11 was completely within legal boundaries. If that sounded confusing, good. It was supposed to. So there you go. Al-Qaeda questions legality of killing U.S. citizen. And it's funny, not even many U.S. citizens are questioning the killing of a U.S. citizen because he's supposedly a terrorist that hates his own freedom as a U.S. citizen. Is all of this not jiving together for everybody? It's not supposed to. You know what it appears like to me, people? When I look at these stories that come out every 4 or 5 weeks, it appears to me as though wherever this information comes from bets on the fact that you have the recall ability of what's something that has no recall ability? I guess you would have the recall ability of or the reaction time. I don't even know. But you must not, they assume that you must not have the ability to remember information that they put out a month ago or 2 months ago or a year ago. I mean, seriously, Al-Qaeda questions legality of killing U.S. citizens. If they're such a vicious, heinous terrorist organization, why would they care? What is this? I haven't even read this article. Should I check it out? Let's check it out. Let's check it out and see what it says. Maybe it'll set me straight. I don't know. Al-Qaeda joins those questioning the legality of U.S. killing of citizen Anwar al-Awlaki. You see, because Al-Qaeda, look, they're going to go to war with us, but they're going to play within the rules. Okay, they're going to stick to the Geneva Convention. They're going to not break any laws in this war that they decided to wage against us. So, they, like I said, they must have checked the legality of terrorist attacks such as 9/11, checked it with their lawyers, made sure that nobody could be prosecuted, all right, and they carried it out within their full legal right to. Right? Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Yemen has confirmed the deaths of American-born cleric Anwar al-Awlaki and Hermain Cain the young American propagandist killed alongside him in a U.S. drone strike late last month. Al-Qaeda, Anwar al-Awlaki also had lunch at the Pentagon just after 9/11, or just before. It doesn't really matter. He was chilling at the Pentagon. Look it up. You can find it. I did. Al-Qaeda has also criticized the Obama administration for killing U.S. citizens, saying doing so contradicts American law. And God damn it, Al-Qaeda is very concerned about American law. Quote, where are what they keep talking about regarding freedom, justice, human rights, and respect of freedoms? The statement says, according to a translation by Site Intelligence Group, which monitors jihadist websites. Now, you see, they don't take down jihadist websites like they take down websites that talk about conspiracy theories or supposedly selling knockoff Louis Vuitton bags. No, they just monitor jihadist websites. The Obama administration has spoken in broad terms about its authority to use military and paramilitary force against Al-Qaeda and associated forces, and Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula would find itself hard-pressed to claim the moral high ground in the debate over the killing of al-Awlaki and Cain. But the killing of 2 U.S. citizens has prompted outrage among civil liberties groups, as well as a debate in legal circles about the basis for the administration's position. The Washington Post, Peter Finn, reported after the strike that al-Awlaki's killing had been authorized in a secret Justice Department memo, a revelation that later prompted senior Democratic senators and scholars to call for its release. Over the weekend, the New York Times quoted people who have read the document as saying that the memo found it would be lawful to kill the cleric only if it were not possible to take him alive. The memo, the Times said, was narrowly drawn to the specifics of al-Awlaki's case. You can't take him alive. Hey, all you special ops guys out there, I guess you guys suck because they say you couldn't take any of these guys alive, so they just have to blow them to bits and then just tell us that they killed them. And we'll believe them. We're supposed to believe them anyway. Among those who have raised legal objections to the strike, Samir Khan's family in Charlotte, North Carolina. In a statement, the family said that Khan was a law-abiding citizen of the United States and was never implicated of any crime. Was this style of execution the only solution, the family said? Why couldn't there have been a capture and a trial? Khan's relatives also described themselves as, quote, appalled by the indifference shown to us by our government. It's not our government, that's why. Saying that they have not been contacted by a U.S. official. It's not our government, people. This is not ours. This is not our government. They're not working for us. The war is on us, everybody. It's on us. After the release of the statement, the Charlotte Observer reported an official from the State Department called the family last week to offer the government's condolences. Quote, they were very apologetic for not calling the family sooner and offered condolences, Jabril Hole, a family spokesman, told the Observer. I don't even believe the family, to be honest with you. I don't believe any of this whole story is just garbage as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. Any comments? I'd love to read the comments on this story. No comments on that story. Oh, wait a minute. Is there? Oh, yeah, there's comments. That's right. Oh, sure there is. Sure there is. Oh, boy. I'm not going to read these comments, but they're funny because people are trying to rationalize this to themselves, and it's quite entertaining. Yes, all right. Okay, so what else do we have here? We have, let me see, anything else juicy on the Drudge Report? Let's see. Oh, children are banned from blowing up balloons. The EU safety rules have decided that children are banned from blowing up balloons only if they're under 8, without parental supervision. So there you go. Can't blow up balloons anymore, kids. You might choke on a balloon. That kind of falls in line with the kids that got suspended at school for sucking on those little tiny candy canes because they could suck them to a point and use them as a weapon. That's right. Stab you to death with a candy cane. shank your ass with my candy cane. I'm going to get you. What else do we have here? Feel free to chime in, people. Feel free. Oh, here's another one. Here's another mind boggler. Now, I covered on the show a while ago California implementing a law where children as young as 12 would be able to consent to the school system for injecting them with the Gardasil shot. So no need to call the parents and ask the parents if it's okay. State of California recognizes 12-year-olds as adults and allows 12-year-olds to give consent to the school to inject them with the Gardasil vaccine. And I'm not going to go into why the Gardasil vaccine is garbage. It just is. Do your own research on it. But 12-year-olds can consent to the Gardasil vaccine, but they cannot go tanning. So the governor of California has banned the use of tanning beds by anyone under the age of 18. But you can still get a needle in your arm for a sexually transmitted disease. I'm not advocating the use of tanning beds, people. I'm just pointing out the ridiculousness that is going on. What else do we have? Oh, floods wash sharks into Golf Course Lake. That could get dicey. Everybody's like, where's all the ducks? What else do we have? Oh, I know what I wanted to bring up, although I have no information in front of me about it. So if anybody does have information on El Hierro, look, I've seen some stories about the Canary Islands today and an underwater eruption. I don't have any information in front of me about that, but it seemed like something of interest, as though something big was going on out there. And you all know that if part of that Canary Island shelf slips into the ocean, supposedly the east coast of North and South America would be inundated with a mega tsunami. Now, that being said, the Canary Islands are located off the coast of Italy, and I don't know how that would cause such a massive tsunami looking at the size of it, okay? I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying I don't know how that would happen. I don't want to find out either. But the news, the Canary Islands have been swarming with earthquake activity, and they actually started evacuating people. I think they evacuated up to 10,000 people. This has been happening over the last couple of months, you guys. The Canary Islands and the earthquake activity, and then El Hierro starting to erupt. Jules in chat says a 4.3 earthquake yesterday, biggest recently yet, and first eruption today for a very long time. So is it? Well, if you have any info on that, please throw that up in chat, and I'll read it on the air. Let me see. What else do we have? Yeah. All right. Give me a second, everybody. I'm sorry. I will not. You know what I was going to do? Once I realized that my guest wasn't going to show up, I was just going to play a long clip for you. I ripped this documentary called Money Masters. I'm sure a lot of you people out there have watched this, but I'm sure a lot of you have not. And it gives you a pretty clear understanding of how our money came to be and how it works. I was going to play that, but I'm not going to play that now because we're too far into the show. But I was going to play it and for the entire show. So next time, if this ever happens, I will do that. So, you know, I want to bring up Anonymous one more time. I don't know if I covered it all in the beginning of the show, but you know they threatened to close down the stock exchange today. And thank you, Jules, for the article about El Hero, and I'll get back to that in a second. You know, I don't trust Anonymous. I've said this 100 times on the show. I think they're full of shit. I think it's a government-run organization. I think it's a tool to be used against the people, just like Al Qaeda is. And I told you the reason I don't trust Anonymous because they back WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks says that the idea that 9/11 was an inside job or had anything to do with the U.S. government is absolutely ridiculous. And since Anonymous backs that, I can't really back Anonymous. The other thing is, you know, let's be honest, it's goofy shit, okay, with the whole V mask and the scary voice and all that stuff. But anyways, they threatened. They said today they were going to take out the stock exchange. They didn't do it. Now, I'm glad they didn't do it because the only people that would have been hurt by that are regular people. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But I hope people get off the Anonymous kick because it's really kind of silly, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. All right, here's an update on the Canary Islands and El Hierro. I don't know if I'm saying that right. El Hierro, whatever. Submarine volcanic eruption is taking place approximately 5 kilometers off the southern coast of El Hierro, the smallest of the Canary Islands. The mayor of La Frontera, David Cabrera, confirmed in an interview on Radio Iron Guerrero that underwater eruption is taking place about 900 meters beneath the sea surface, 5 kilometers south of La Restinga. The eruption has been ongoing for 4 hours, the mayor said. Spanish newspaper. This is an update as of today. Yeah, this is from today. Let me see. Where am I? The eruption has been going on for 4 hours, the mayor said. Spanish newspaper La Opinión.es quoted the Minister of Emergencies of the Cabildo of El Hierro, Maria of Carmen Morales, as saying the eruption is taking place because the seismic movement of 4.3 occurred on Saturday afternoon caused a fissure from where the energy is being released. Scientists remain unclear if the emissions are gas or lava. A meeting of Pevolca, okay, whatever. I guess this is an organization for volcanic activity in the Canaries, compromising representatives of Instituto Geográfico Nacional and the Canary Islands government is presently taking place on the Spanish island. Meanwhile, La Agencia, scientists equipped with the special detection cameras have been making numerous sorties over coastal areas of El Hierro in an attempt to verify the existence and scale of the underwater eruption. If confirmed, this would be Spain's first volcanic eruption since 1971, when the erupted of the Taningua volcano on the island of La Palma, which is in the Canary Islands, located to the north of El Hierro. Initial reports of the eruption were received from crews on board 4 separate ships. On Monday afternoon, Terra something, these are just agencies, people, reported that an eruption occurred 2,000 meters below sea level in the Las Palmas Sea at 10:43 local time. Spanish newspaper El Mundo placed the depth of the eruption at 1,300 meters. Local media agencies Canaris reported on Monday that government authorities have suspended ferry activities to and from the 285 square kilometer island. English language newspaper islandconnections.eu reported, quote, the maritime chief for the province of Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Antonio Pardon, has issued a recommendation that boats should not sail closer than 4 miles off El Hierro. Divers have also been told to suspend all activities. Okay, so there you go with that. Oh, and we have something better. So that was like an official cable release. That's why it was so difficult to read, you guys. So there you go. You know, anytime, holy mackerel. Anytime excuse me, 1 second here. Anytime I see the public, Patriot Radio, Alternative Radio, Truth Radio, whatever you want to call it, whenever I see us all getting wrapped up into the same thing, my red flag always goes up, and I wonder, is this a distraction? So, one thing to keep in mind as we're watching this country spiral out of control, and all eyes are on occupations and financial doings or undoings, we always have to keep an eye out for other stuff. Number one, the sun activity has been really off the hook. The sun's been jamming out massive CMEs all over the place lately. Most of them have not been Earth directed, but there have been some huge ones. So that's something that we always have to keep in mind. And we have this earthquake activity over there, and a mega tsunami along the East Coast. I think that would be a bigger priority, something to pay attention to. Hey, Wall Street wouldn't be there anymore, put it that way. So just always keep an eye out, for other things. Don't get wrapped up in the talk of the day. If it seems like everybody's getting caught up in it, I don't know. To me, it just says, pay attention. Look behind you. Look to the left. Look to the right. Look up. Okay, things may be coming your way that you're not supposed to be paying attention to. That's all. What else do we have? Oh, we have Fast and Furious blowing up in people's face. I predict Eric Holder will be the fall guy. He'll take the fall. Everybody else will walk. Maybe not. Always got to have a fall guy. One thing, this is what we need. Let me just talk about, what time do I have here? Okay. Let me just talk about the whole Occupy thing that's going on. Everybody's going, oh, God, no, please, not again. All right, listen, I'm just going to talk about it in a different way here. I want to bring up the Egyptian protests, and I want to equate it to this. Look, very simple, very short. In mainstream media, the Egyptian protests, if you watched MSNBC and you saw, all the left-wing media talking about the Egyptian revolution, remember it was a color revolution, a lavender, remember they even said like lavender revolution, or was that China? No, that was China. It was a color revolution in Egypt, social media revolution, Twitter revolution, all this crazy stuff where people were, crying out for freedom and democracy. Well, we don't want democracy regardless. That's a catchword, a buzzword. Understand what it means before you ask for it. It's mob rule. We are in a republic in this country, constitutional republic. But anyway, so they were saying, oh, it's freedom, and what happened? Egyptian people found themselves out of the frying pan into the fire, because who's in control of the Egyptian people now but the United States, but the Egyptian army, which is funded by the United States. So it's more or less us in charge through military law. So you saw what their revolution got them, their supposed revolution. It wasn't a real revolution, people, but that's what their supposed revolution got them. Out of the frying pan into the fire. They are now under military dictatorship. They have no free speech. They don't even have the right to protest anything anymore. There's all types of stories of human rights issues coming out of there, beatings, torturings by the military, the Egyptian military. And you got to wonder who's really in charge of it. They say the military, but come on, there's got to be a guy at the top. We probably want to know who that guy is. We probably want to know who that guy has connections with. And I believe it will all lead back to us. And, some English guys too, probably. But, so, as we watch America slowly slip into something similar, as I've said many times on the program, it's not the fact that the system itself that we have all been a part of, that we've all grown to know, that has become our lives. This system needs to go away. All right? It does. It needs to go away. I want it to go away in its current form. I want it to go away. The people who control it want it to go away because it's just not quite how they want it to roll. They want it to be, all the bad things about this system that we consider bad, they want those things to be more. You know, they want to surveil you more. They want to control you more. They want to enslave you more. And they want to do it in a more streamlined fashion, a more efficient fashion, and in a way that you will be much more compliant. That will make their lives much easier. See, all this freedom talk, all this Constitution talk, all this, 1776 talk, all of this stuff is just a thorn in their side, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. So, see, everybody wants this system to go away. Why wouldn't I want a system to go away where I have to give away almost 70% of all my earned income? Why wouldn't I want a system to go away where I'm not tracked, surveilled, and traced everywhere I go? I don't want that. So we all want it to go away for various reasons. Some people don't want it to go away. Some people don't really understand it or understand what it is. So they can't really have an informed opinion about it. But you see, it's the solution. It's what comes after that we have to be careful of. That's what we really have to be careful of. And I believe that if the Egyptian people who started that revolution, that demonstration, I believe if those people knew where that would lead them to, they would have handled themselves a little bit differently during that thing. And this is why it is so important to become part of these protests, okay? And I don't mean go down there, shake your fist, and wave signs. I mean go down there and talk to and inform people and make them understand that be careful what you're wishing for, and be careful of who the solution comes from. Because the truth of the matter is, people, that the solution should come from us. This has not been by the people, for the people for a very long time, if it ever was. We don't vote on anything. We have no say in anything. That's what we need. We also need accountability. So be careful about the solution that will be offered. And the plan is this. The plan is to make the collapse of our society so horrific, so desperate, that you will accept anything that is offered as long as it stops. It's kind of like in the movie 300. Remember when Leonidas had his first meeting, his first encounter with Xerxes, the Persians? Remember? And Xerxes, he talked in that very calm voice. He was very complimentary to Leonidas and the Spartans. He offered them everything they wanted in return for one thing: complete submission. That's all he wanted. He would have made Leonidas a king. He would have made him extremely wealthy. But in return, all he asked for was complete submission. That's what you're going to be asked for. Not outright like that, of course. But these are the pains that we're feeling now, the pains of forced submission. And this is what makes everybody's head go crazy. This is what makes everybody not be able to really wrap their head around what they're seeing or try to figure it out and try to have conversation about it, because it's so much easier. It's so much easier for me to go back, go drink a few beers, smoke a little weed, and go watch a movie or go talk about football or go talk about anything else. It's a lot easier to do that. I just had a conversation with my neighbor. right before the show. He called me over to his house and needed help moving something. And he's a union guy, you know. He makes great money. He's a union roofer, commercial roofer. Does the big buildings, you know, in downtown cities, you know, does the big flat tar roofs. Makes like, I don't know, $32 an hour. I don't know, something like that. $35 an hour, something like that. Makes good money. Makes about $1,700 a week. Brings home, lucky, he's lucky, he said if he brings home $1,000 out of that $1,700. He's lucky. And I said to him, because he stands up for his union, and I said to him, well, I understand how you love the unions, and I'm not knocking unions. In fact, I really don't care one way or another. To me, they're fairly irrelevant in the big picture. They're not a problem, or they're not a solution to our problem. So I don't really care about them. I said, but you might want to ask your union why you're losing, you know, almost half your check if they're on your side. You know, see what they say. And then we went into the, you know, economic system a little bit, and I informed him about the Federal Reserve, the simplest thing that most people don't know. And I had to talk to him, and I had to repeat it to him many times within a 15, 20-minute time period that it's owned by some guys. It's not owned by your government. And I explained to him how it works. All your tax, your tax money that you pay in goes to pay the debt, goes directly to the Federal Reserve into some guy's pockets. Then the government turns around and borrows money on our behalf at interest from the Federal Reserve. So there's no way to catch up. There's no way to pay the debt. There's no possible way. You pay in and more money goes out at interest. You pay in and more money goes out at interest. You pay in and more money goes out at interest. But he started to get it. So if more people understood that simple fact, and a few other simple facts, then when the collapse does happen, and I read an article at the website Half Past Human. Somebody sent it to me in email. And Half Past Human is predicting a major financial event on October 17th, a week from today. And they say it's going to be a massive resource grab. And they say it's going to be the resource is going to be money. And they say it's going to be a $16 trillion grab. That's what they say. So I'm just throwing that out there. Look, if more people understood how the Federal Reserve worked and where their money goes and how they have absolutely no say and how they can continue to get taxed to death. You know, you can go into even more. You can go into common law and maritime law, and you can explain to them how their birth certificate is a contract with the government and how it licenses them as collateral, and that's what the government is actually borrowing against is us, human beings. We, the people, they borrow against us. We are the collateral on the debt. When you explain some of these things to people, well, maybe they'll start to get it a little bit, you know? But I guess it's hard to get through sometimes. But you just have to educate people. You have to talk to people. And, you know, if you make people answer their own questions, like when you tell somebody, like when I was explaining to my neighbor how the Federal Reserve worked, and he was like, come on, man, he doesn't believe me. And I said to him, well, then you explain to me how it works. Of course he couldn't, because he's never given it a thought. He's never given a thought in his life to how it worked. So he couldn't explain it to me. And I said, so here you are, you're disagreeing with me, who's giving you a detailed, accurate description of how this works, and you're going to disagree with me and yet you have absolutely no idea how you even think it works. So when he realized that he really had no idea how it worked and how I explained to it, it makes sense. You could see the little light in his eyes go off. It's probably done by now because I've left and haven't talked to him about it for an hour. But you could see, So when you talk to people, try not to get frustrated. Try to have them answer their own questions and have them do most of the talking. Because you see, it's not really you, the informed person, who has to do all the talking and prove a point. Make them prove the point, because they usually don't have a point to prove. And once they realize that they're in that situation, that they really don't know what they're talking about because they can't explain it to you, then it validates what you're saying. And yeah, look, I'm rambling because I don't really have anything to go on the show. I did have a bunch of tabs open for about 2 days that I was going to... Actually, I wanted to discuss some of these articles with Gerald President when he was on, just to get his take on it. I didn't want to go through the same old, hey, how'd you wake up? Explain to us how everything is, because, I wasn't going to have him do that. I was gonna get a little bit more up to date. I was going to have him talk about current issues, current events, current stories that are being perpetrated in the media, and get his take on it to see what he thought. But I happened to close the browser by accident right before the show starts, so they all went down the tubes. One of the stories I was going to cover is a law that's just been passed through the House, and I can't remember the name of the law because I don't have the information up in front of me. But it had to do with marijuana. Some of us call it weed. It had to do with some weed and how the federal government, not only are they cracking down hard in California dispensaries right now, but you got to wonder, why do they have such a bug up their ass about weed? Strange, right? But it had to do with a federal law that just passed through the House that says if you are, let's say me and you are kicked back at my house and we're going to take a trip to Amsterdam, and we go to Amsterdam, we're going to buy us some weed, right? And we're just kicked back over here at my house here in FEMA Region 1, just kicked back talking about it, saying, man, I can't wait to go to Amsterdam. I'm going to buy some good weed. I'm going to just buy it and smoke it and buy it and smoke it and buy it. Well, that's illegal here. So our government is saying that they now want to arrest you for conspiring to break American laws in other countries. My question to this is, not that this surprises me, because it doesn't. None of it surprises me. I'm expecting all of it. But my question is, how would they know? How do they plan on enforcing that law? Comment in chat. I'll go to Amsterdam with you, but I refuse to fly, so we'll have to drive. I'm with you. If we can drive to Amsterdam, let's go. How are they going to enforce this law? The only way I can think of is through surveillance. I mean, outright surveillance. I mean, some way. Comment in chat. Smart dust could be. I don't doubt. Who knows? Smart dust in chemtrailing. Why not? Throw that in there too. I don't know. Don't know. But how would they actually enforce this law? Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Thank you, Jules, for the article link. U.S. drug policy would be imposed globally by new House bill. The House Judiciary Committee passed a bill yesterday that would make it a federal crime for U.S. residents to discuss or plan activities on foreign soil that, if carried out in the U.S., would violate Controlled Substances Act, CSA, even if the planned activities are legal in the countries where they're carried out. H.R. 313, the Drug Trafficking Safe Harbor Elimination Act of 2011. Holy Christ. It is sponsored by Judiciary Committee Chairman Representative Lamar Smith, Republican from Texas. Oh, those freedom-loving Republicans. And allow prosecutors to bring conspiracy charges against anyone who discusses, plans, or advises someone else to engage in any activity that violates the CSA, the Controlled Substances Act. The massive federal law that prohibits drugs like marijuana and strictly regulates prescription medication. Quote, under this bill, if a young couple plans a wedding in Amsterdam, and as part of the wedding they plan to buy the bridal party some marijuana, they would be subject to prosecution, said Bill Piper, Director of National Affairs for Drug Policy Alliance, which advocates for the reforming of the country's drug laws. Quote, the strange thing is that when you the purchase of and smoking the marijuana while you're there wouldn't be illegal. But this law would make planning the wedding from the U.S. a federal crime. Woo! The law could also potentially affect academics and medical professionals. For example, a U.S. doctor who works with overseas doctors or government officials on needle exchange programs could be subject to criminal prosecution. A U.S. resident who advises someone in another country on how to grow marijuana or I know it's marijuana, people, or how to run a medical marijuana dispensary would also be in violation of the new law, even if medical marijuana is legal in the country where the recipient of the advice resides. If interpreted broadly enough, a prosecutor could possibly even charge doctors, academics, and policymakers from contributing their expertise to additional experiments like the Drug Decriminalization Project, Portugal, which has successfully reduced drug crime and addiction and overdose deaths. And God damn it, we're not going to do anything like that because we don't want to reduce drug crime, addiction, or deaths because it's too goddamn lucrative. So instead, we're going to pass laws where we can bust more people and make more money and have more control on it. That's right. Civil libertarian attorney and author Harvey Silverglate says the bill raises several concerns. Quote, just when you think you can't get any more cynical, a bill like this comes along. I mean, it just sounds like an abomination. First, there's no intuitive reason for an American to think that planning an activity that's perfectly legal in another country would have any effect on America. You know, I wonder if this bill, you know what? But it's not, right? Because it is, let me read it again. It is specific to drug trafficking. So I guess all the Congress critters, the ones that like those little Taiwanese prostitute boys over there, you know, where the government spent $1 million, $1 million plus on on quote unquote research in the sex habits of Taiwanese boy prostitutes. That's right. That's right. Lost audio 50 months ago. Okay. Do we have audio? Do we have audio? Says I'm still on the air, so I'm just going to keep talking. So I guess this law, this type of law, will not apply to congressmen as they're sitting around in their favorite D.C. lounge discussing how they're going to, you know, shock and awe some Taiwanese boy prostitutes. That won't, because that's not legal here, but it's legal in Taiwan. So that won't be a federal crime. But if I talk about smoking doobies in Amsterdam, that will be. All right. How does that sound, people? Does that sound like a freedom-loving government to you? How does charging people who have committed a non-violent, doing nothing except talking, How does that become a federal crime now? Is that the kind of freedom that Al-Qaeda hates? I don't even really know what to say about it anymore, to be honest with you guys. It's just pathetic. You know? I don't know. I wish I knew what you guys thought out there, you know? So, look, let's just run down the list real quick. We have behavioral police. We have nationwide audio surveillance, nationwide facial recognition surveillance technology being implemented, and we have now it being a federal crime to talk about something that you're going to do in another country. Something that's nonviolent that you're going to do in another country. But hey, don't worry. The economy's recovering, and Al-Qaeda hates you for your freedom. The U.S. of A., United States of America. All right, everybody. Yep. All right, everybody. I am going to wind this down right now. Look, I apologize for the mix-up for the no-show guest. I'm sure he just forgot, and I'm sure that I'll have Gerald, President, on the show soon enough. That is, if he didn't get offended by my rant on my last show. I hope he didn't. I hope he could have appreciated it, really. But, hey, you never know how people are going to take things. So with that, everybody, I'm going to, let's see, there we go. I'm going to end the show with just this. Look, keep an eye out. Stay informed. Keep your head on a swivel. I'm not saying be scared. I'm not here to be a Chicken Little. Sky is falling. Look, the things that people like me have been talking about for 10 years are here. They're here. We're living in it. It used to all be conspiracy theory. But you see it's right in front of you and we're living it. So to think that a global government, global dictatorship is not coming down the road for all of us after the collapse of this current system, you'd be a fool to think that anything but would present itself. It's order out of chaos, people. That's the mantra. That's what they want. Order out of chaos. Always remember that. Divide and conquer is their tool. All right. And with that, look, be safe. You know, spend time with the important people. Do your thing. Enjoy your life. All right. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just something to be aware of. All right. And I'm going to squeeze in this time. Like a wise man, like a smart man that I know said, it's good to be important, but it's more important to be good, right? Isn't that right, JJ? All right, everybody. Good night, and take these words of wisdom to heart.
Your choice is simple. Join us and live in peace, or pursue your present course and face obliteration. We shall be waiting for your answer. The decision rests with you.